Once upon a time, Tom Holland was best known for starring in the stage version of Billy Elliot in the 2012 disaster flick The Impossible. Of course, that all changed when the British actor appeared in Captain America: Civil War, donning the iconic Spider-Man suit to fight against Steve Rogers.
What's up, everybody?
Marvel fans everywhere thought Holland absolutely killed it as Peter Parker, and they also agreed he looked ripped as everybody's favorite web-slinger. He might have even made some of his co-stars jealous for how well-liked he was in the flick.
Tom's a little all right? Tom has his own base camp. He has like an entourage. It's a lot, man. He's a lot to deal with.
But how did he physically transform from a scrawny tot into one of the world's most famous superheroes? Here's everything you need to know about how Tom Holland turned himself into Spider-Man. Shaking it into shape. Unlike a certain actor who's best known for playing Star-Lord, Tom Holland was in great shape long before landing the role of Spider-Man. He started out taking hip-hop dance lessons in England as a kid and went on to study ballet for 2 years in hopes of landing the title role in Billy Elliot. In addition to helping him get bigger, Holland's dance background has really aided him as an actor. He told Interview magazine, "I'm very happy I had that training. It's been so valuable to my career, and I've used it on almost everything I've done since." That experience certainly came into good use when he cross-dressed for lip sync battle with exactly zero fear of losing any dude cred. Hitting the mats. Every Avenger has his or her particular skill set. Iron Man flies and blasts stuff, Black Widow does martial arts, Spider-Man climbs walls, does flips, and makes Olympic gold medalists look like old men. Of course, Peter Parker got his acrobatic skills courtesy of a radioactive spider bite. Tom Holland, on the other hand, gained his gymnastic abilities from years of hard work, dedication, and risking his neck. Like his dancing history, he credits his stage work on Billy Elliot with his earliest exposure to gymnastics.
They trained me in gymnastics while I was doing that show, and it's just something I kept up while finishing the show and for my auditions for Spider-Man.
Holland is also into free running, a form of parkour that emphasizes creative expression. In other words, it involves a lot of acrobatics, not to mention some semi-dangerous stunts. Speaking with Metro, Holland once explained, "Me and my mates go free running all the time. I've probably jumped 4 meters onto grass and 2 meters between buildings." In addition to keeping him agile and limber, which is essential if you're going to play the wall crawler himself, Holland's gymnastic abilities might have helped him land the role of Spider-Man in the first place. During the audition process, he transformed what would have been a run-of-the-mill screen test into an eye-catching exercise of his flipping skills.
And I basically did like a somersault into frame and then a somersault out of frame. I need them to know that I've got some gymnastics abilities and stuff.
Considering Tom Holland is the guy currently wearing the Spidey suit, it looks like his acrobatic skills paid off.
Finally, here we go.
Changing things up. Another training technique Tom Holland has adopted to swell up to Spider-Man size is circuit training. This controversial exercise involves wearing an elevation mask while performing multiple sets of reps, like burpees or bicep curling, one after another with almost no rest in between stations. And that's not the only experimental exercise he's tried. He's also given electronic muscle stimulation a whirl along the way, too.
And they put pads on you, and you work out while the pads electrocute you. And it sucks. It really, really sucks.
And while he had some trouble with it at first,
I tell you, I did it once and I didn't go to the toilet for 2 days.
he's since given it another go, hopefully with less troubling consequences. Punching it out. If you want to be an Avenger, sooner or later, you're going to have to throw down with some bad guys. Luckily, Holland is big into combat sports. Not only is he an MMA fan showing up at UFC events, he also spends quite a bit of time in the gym learning all he can about the sweet science. As a result, Holland totally knows what he's doing when he pulls on a pair of gloves.
My mind's about blown. His might be as well.
When he's not punishing those punching bags, Holland also does every other gym activity imaginable, including chin-ups, side lateral raises, and even borrowing Thor's hammer to beat on some massive tires. So perhaps one of the most effective elements of his workout regime is how consistently he hits the gym while still mixing up his routines.
Oh, that was awesome. You might know Michael B. Jordan from any number of scene-stealing roles, like Steve Montgomery in Chronicle.
Oh, Steve Montgomery for president! Oh!
But chances are you've never seen him as fit as he is in his most recent movies. The actor put on some serious muscle to convincingly play the son of a legendary boxer in Creed and a villainous revolutionary in Black Panther. So how did he get so swole? Here's a look at how Michael B. Jordan got ripped for Hollywood. Creed. While he's always been fit, Jordan had to get seriously buff when he took the title role of Adonis Creed in the 2015 boxing flick, Creed. Playing the son of legendary boxer Apollo Creed from the Rocky films required Jordan to take things to the next level, which he did with the help of professional trainer Corey Kaye. In order to properly portray a boxer, Jordan had to train like a boxer. That meant 45 to 60 minutes daily of cardio along with tons of ab workouts like crunches, mountain climbers, leg raises, reverse crunches, and traditional sit-ups to build up his core and burn fat. As for building muscle, Kaye had Jordan focus on supersets, exercising where lifting or curling dumbbells are interspersed with push-ups or another workout. And after that, 3 full hours of boxing training.
This ain't your normal workout. This is a Rocky-style workout.
All told, Jordan packed on 24 pounds of muscle over a year of training. According to Kaye, it was hard going at first. When we first started, he could barely bench 20 pounds. His legs were flailing everywhere. He had nothing. He used to hate all this. Jordan agreed, saying, "I felt muscles I didn't even know I had." It worked though, so Jordan brought Kaye along with him to help add another 20 pounds of muscle in order to play the supervillain Eric Killmonger in Black Panther. But that's not all Jordan did in order to get ready for his big Marvel moment. Nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. As any fitness buff worth his salt will tell you, exercise is only half the battle when it comes to getting your body into peak shape. For Jordan to get into literal fighting condition, he had to cut his food intake almost entirely to lean proteins, carbs, green veggies, and protein shakes. According to Jordan, "I stripped down my diet completely. I worked out 2 to 3 times a day, 6 days a week. And if you do that consistently for about 10 months, your body will change." Don't worry though, because on the 7th day, Jordan rested, as Kaye allowed him to cheat on his diet once a week with French toast in the morning, Philly cheesesteaks in the afternoon, and pizza. Yum! Self-motivation is key. Jordan told Vice Sports he credits growing up in Newark with a supportive family as the inspiration for his work ethic and aspirations.
My dad used to tell me all the time, you gotta be serious about something.
That motivation has been absolutely key to Jordan's physical transformation, pushing him to heavier weights and longer runs. No matter how painful the workout, Jordan can persevere thanks to that motivation.
I told myself at a young age that I was gonna sacrifice. I used to run myself into the ground to pure exhaustion just because then I would feel like, oh, I deserve it.
Also providing motivation, the results. Jordan told Men's Fitness, "You know, at first, you're hurting, but when you start bench pressing 225 pounds 10 times and it ain't nothing, and then you start giving hugs to girls and they're feeling you up a little? So I learned to love it when I started seeing results." Method training. Being in fighting shape from Creed definitely helped Jordan transition to the training for Black Panther, where he used a new technique called method training. The technique adapts Jordan's workouts to match what his character would do to stay in shape, helping alleviate the dreaded workout boredom. Those workouts included a comprehensive weapons training program, in addition to learning various forms of martial arts. For Jordan, it was a real departure from the boxing-focused training of Creed. Jordan told Collider, "This one is more martial arts, using a lot of your legs, so I'm picking up different fighting styles. Also a lot of guns, too. The weapons training is a totally different muscle. No rest for the wickedly fit." While any normal person might want to take a break from non-stop workout routines and just eat some pizza and drink some beer, Jordan is jumping right back into training for Creed 2. The story will follow Adonis Creed fighting the son of Ivan Drago, the man who killed Apollo Creed in the ring in Rocky IV. Professional boxer Florian Montano will be playing the son of Ivan Drago, and at 6'4" and 245 pounds, Jordan has his work cut out for him. But if there's one thing his training has proven so far, it's that Jordan isn't afraid of a little hard work.
Henry Cavill's good looks and strong voice make him a natural fit to play Superman, but getting into godlike shape to play the last son of Krypton is a superhuman feat in and of itself. How exactly did Cavill make himself faster than a speeding bullet and more powerful than a locomotive? Let's find out. Exclusive gym. In order to turn himself into the Man of Steel, Henry Cavill turned to the exclusive Gym Jones, an invite-only gym known for training athletes, military personnel, and the cast of 300. Gym Jones is not your warm and cozy neighborhood Pilates studio. The gym prides itself on having no televisions, and no machines, and no mirrors, and no comfortable places to sit. And apparently their walls have seen a fair share of breakdowns, both physical and psychological. Pushing limits. Cavill's training regimen essentially pushed him into the realm of the superhuman. He explained, "I'm training 2.5 hours a day, pushing my body beyond its normal limits."
It's not just a physical thing, but a psychological thing as well.
Cavill recalled to shortlist one particularly excruciating moment with his trainer, Mark Twight, during which Cavill said he was doing some horrible rowing sprint thing, and I said, "I can't do this, Mark. I can't. I'm done." And he said, "No, you're not. Don't listen to the lies." I kept on pulling and pulling until suddenly I realized I'd finished. Strong foundation. Getting big is one thing, staying Superman-sized, however, is an entirely different story.
Yeah, well, you know, gotta up the game every year.
Henry Cavill's twice daily training sessions may have helped him get jacked, but once filming actually started, that regimen went out the window. Still, the Man of Steel was able to minimize the detrimental effects of a reduced workout regimen, thanks to the ultra-solid muscle base it built. Dwight explained, "Stable fitness requires a wide, solid foundation. The deeper that foundation, the more stable that condition will be, and the easier it is to maintain." Catching Z's. Before Cavill even started training, Dwight laid down one extremely important stipulation. The actor needed to get 9 to 10 hours of sleep every single night for 5 months. Dwight explained to Muscle and Fitness, "If you don't get the sleep, if you can't recover, then we can't continue with this training and we won't achieve the objective. The HGH and testosterone secretion that happens during these deep sleep cycles is super important." The tailpipe. Cavill's trainer highly recommends ending any Superman workout with something he likes to call the tailpipe, which was given its name because, as Dwight says, quote, "When you're done, it feels like you've been sucking on the tailpipe of a car." Basically, you row 250 meters at full speed, then hold two 24-kilogram kettlebells in the rack position, and repeat 3 times. After that, your lungs will certainly feel the burn, and you'll be able to get more out of each subsequent workout, thanks to the increased lung capacity and stamina. Can't skip cardio. Many people looking to bulk up don't get in enough cardio, which does a lot more than just make you faster than a speeding bullet. Cavill strength coach Michael Blevins explained to Men's Fitness, "There's a misconception that cardio will negatively impact muscle. A larger work capacity can allow you to train harder and longer. Building muscle without conditioning is akin to having an impressive engine without a gas tank. It's worthless." Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. One of Cavill's favorite ways to stay in shape is by practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. However, the actor doesn't just dabble in the martial arts, he trains with the best. Cavill frequently takes lessons from 10-time Jiu-Jitsu world champion Roger Gracie. In an Instagram post, he wrote, "My BJJ has slipped by the wayside a bit with my focus being on work, but it's now time to get back into it. Such an enjoyable way to train." Chow down. While training to become Superman, Cavill would generally eat between 3,500 and 5,000 calories per day, including regular post-workout shakes. He explained, "You've got to eat protein first, then a little bit of carbs. You've got to keep your hunger levels going."
Unfortunately, Guinness is what I crave, so it's not ideal for the six-pack abs.
Getting 5,000 calories meant roughly 6 meals per day. HenryCavill.org lists samples of the 3,500 and 5,000 calorie meal plans on their Man of Steel workout and diet page. Strength of character. Anyone can hire some skilled personal trainers and put down a bunch of calories to get ripped, but playing Superman requires more than simply lifting heavy objects and exhibiting lightning speed. Being Superman requires inner strength. Dwight told Muscle and Fitness, "Genuine accomplishment looks and feels different. It cannot be faked. By doing physically difficult things, by changing his body of his own will, Henry changed his attitude and his bearing. He looked huge, he walked huge, his attitude broadcast his physical capability."
If you want to play a costume superhero, then you need to look the part, and that means intense workouts coupled with an insane diet. Let's take a look at how Zachary Levi went from super geek to superhero and got ripped for Shazam. When Zachary Levi agreed to take on Shazam as his next big role, he essentially agreed to make the gym his second home. After all, this is a character who has stood his ground in a number of scraps with Superman over the years. If this confrontation is ever going to play out on the big screen, then Levi has to at least keep pace with Henry Cavill. Assuming Cavill is still playing the Man of Steel by the time a crossover is viable, the movie's official synopsis even described Shazam as having a ripped, godlike body. So there's little wonder Levi began hitting the weights almost every day. During a chat with former Smallville Lex Luthor actor Michael Rosenbaum, Levi said he's working out 5 or 6 days a week. He elaborated,
"Like sometimes we'll do 2-a-days and then we'll get more off days, but typically we'll just go, hour and 15-minute sessions every day."
That's a lot of time in the gym no matter who you are, and all that time pumping iron definitely shows. When someone who doesn't work out regularly starts hitting the gym hard, they usually experience what's known as newbie gains.
Yes, you too can have a body like mine, if you're not careful.
This was evidently the case for Levi, who managed to pack on an impressive amount of pounds within his first 6 weeks of training. He told Rosenbaum in February 2018,
Before I got the role, I was about 200 pounds. I hovered around 200 pounds most of my adult life.
Levi gave a similar account of his early gains when Variety caught up with him almost a year down the line. Speaking to the Hollywood Trade at the New York City premiere of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel Season 2, the actor revealed that he'd started seeing results right away. I immediately put on about 24 pounds and then we carved that down in about half. So I've been hovering around 215 pounds, and I'm in the best shape of my life and stronger and happier and healthier than I've ever been.
What's going on?
Oh, well, I got into really good shape. Am I hitting the light right?
What's happening?
Why?
Why?
It probably won't surprise you to learn that Levi had to consume a heroic amount of calories to achieve a Shazam-worthy physique. When Variety quizzed him about his weight gain at the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel Season 2 premiere, the actor revealed that he'd been taking on between 3,000 and 4,000 calories a day ever since he won the lead role in the DC movie.
Let me just walk down this peanut brittle real quick. Why would you do that? Oh, right, because calories.
Levi went on to give a more detailed breakdown of his Shazam calorie count during his appearance on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast.
3,700 calories with then like a bunch of other supplements like fish oil, omega-3.
It's an impressive amount of calories for sure, but how does it match up against Levi's DC counterparts? The short answer is that, well, it doesn't. Both Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill reportedly consumed up to 5,000 calories per day when training to play Batman and Superman. Levi described his diet as pretty lean and clean, and he really wasn't kidding. To achieve his body goals, the actor had to give up some of his favorite snacks and make every single mouthful count, which is why most of his meals consist of protein-rich chicken and large portions of broccoli, a favorite of bodybuilders everywhere. Levi was even eating broccoli for breakfast at one stage, documenting the experience on Instagram stories. One bemused follower took to Twitter to ask the actor why he would do such a thing, and Levi revealed that he has a variation on chicken and broccoli 5 times a day. I basically eat the same macros all day long, meat and veg of varying combinations. I used to eat a lot of eggs in the morning, but I think I have an intolerance to them. Hopefully that means he didn't have to down any raw egg shakes, Rocky style. Levi's physical transformation has clearly been a source of inspiration to his fans, with some even reaching out to ask the actor for hints and tips on getting jacked. He told one of his followers, "It's a marathon, not a sprint. I've been in the gym 5 days a week for the last 5 months, and I've eaten pretty darn healthy strictly, but not so crazy that I'm not still enjoying life. The system works." When another fan asked how her skinny husband could look more like Levi, the actor revealed that he himself used to struggle with adding muscle to his slender frame, and it was all down to diet. According to Levi, you can work out constantly, but if you aren't providing your body with all the right tools, then you're going to struggle to improve on those newbie gains. The former Chuck star replied, "The key, I found, was quite literally consuming mass quantities. You have to feed your muscles. You have to give your body the building material necessary to grow larger. You have to eat, even when you're not hungry."
14,000 calories later, I found myself down at Subway, powering through a 12-inch veggie on whole wheat.
Levi might advocate eating as much as humanly possible, but that doesn't mean eating whatever you can get your hands on. When he was asked how he manages to eat well while still enjoying his life, he gave a pretty straightforward answer: avoid processed foods. From my perspective, the biggest favor you can do for yourself is avoiding all processed foods. Sweet or savory, doesn't matter. It's all breaking down in your body as sugar that is then stored as fat. But there's a lot of tasty, clean food out there. Get into it.
Why are you eating stem first?
This is a new food for me. How else should I eat it?
The other way.
Junk food is far from the only obstacle when you're trying to balance gym life with the social life, however. Alcohol certainly doesn't help matters when you're trying to remain as trim as possible.
I'd like to purchase some of your finest beer, please.
Levi discovered the benefits of cutting out the booze when he took part in Sober October 2018. Star admitted, "It was a little difficult at first, and it's still kind of strange not having a drink when I go out at night. But overall, I feel so much healthier and happier and clearer of mind and heart. It's been a good cleanse. May even take it longer. We'll see." Finding the time to prepare 5 clean meals a day can be a big challenge for anybody, let alone a busy actor. But that's where having a major Hollywood studio as your boss comes in handy. Levi praised Warner Brothers for helping him reach his targets when he spoke to Michael Rosenbaum, revealing that the studio had arranged for his meals to be brought right to his door. He said,
Oh yeah, I do meal delivery. It's part of the job, and they've been very awesome about taking care of me.
That's all well and good, but what does Levi do when he's not home? As an actor, he has to travel a lot, but even then, he sticks to his regimented diet plan. He tweeted, "I use different meal delivery companies in different cities because I need to eat a lot throughout the day, and I don't know how to cook, like at all." Imagine putting yourself through months of training and hundreds of portions of broccoli, only for one of the biggest names in fitness to call you a fraud. That's the situation Levi found himself in during March 2018, when Men's Health suggested that the actor was wearing a padded suit on set. Some behind-the-scenes photos of Levi in full costume were leaked online, and regular contributor Vinny Mancuso took one look at the size of Levi's biceps and called foul play. In response to the Men's Health investigation, Levi posted a picture of his bicep on Twitter along with the caption, "So much padding." It was the actor's way of getting back at the fitness mag, but the author of the original article wasn't convinced. In fact, Vinny Mancuso said the photo Levi posted was actually evidence that he was correct about the suit padding all along. In a follow-up article, he said, "Yes, that is a large arm. That is a gym-earned, above-average-sized appendage. But try to tell yourself honestly that the arm in that photo is the same arm in the leaked photo. You can't. You just can't do it." Levi has had a hard time shaking the fake muscle rumor since his spat with Men's Health. Some people seem to think he looked padded out in a trailer that dropped in January 2019, with one fan questioning just how he looked so huge. The actor gave a purposefully non-committal answer, but that's likely because he's sick of addressing the story by now. When Variety asked him about it on the red carpet just a few weeks earlier, Levi again denied that he needed extra mass.
Especially in this area. Does that look like fake? Does that look fake to you? Come on.
According to a study by the Society of Behavioral Medicine, having a workout partner can greatly improve your performance in the gym, doubling cardio results in some instances. While many superhero actors are set up with world-renowned trainers, the guy spotting Levi is actually a photographer by trade. Eric Blackman has posted multiple pics and videos of Levi pumping iron, unofficially documenting the actor's progress. In October 2017, Blackman tweeted, "Apparently, I'll be getting ripped for Shazam as well, since Zachary Levi is kicking my ass in the gym. I need protein now." Despite the bleak winter weather, the pair remained dedicated to the Shazam cause as 2018 rolled around. By February, Levi was already looking far more heroic in their sessions, and by May, both men were looking fighting fit. Levi replied to the second Men's Health article with another photo of his guns, and this one was harder to argue against. The actor posted a topless pic of himself in the gym, along with a hilarious equation. It's like the old saying goes, hard work, overtime, plus chicken and broccoli, minus carbs, divided by whey protein, in which X represents the amount of supplements, and Y represents the sentiment of why the hell am I doing this to myself, multiplied by shameless selfies whilst staring into nowhere. Talk about taking your workouts to the next level.
Why is this so hard to understand? This is not string theory!
When he spoke to Variety in December 2018, Levi was eager to discuss how being selected to play the lead role in Shazam changed his life in more ways than one. His name is now known across the board in Hollywood, and he likely picked up a pretty paycheck for his work on the Shazam movie. But he was also extremely grateful for the chance to get healthy. Honestly, that's the stuff that I'm most ecstatic about. Just the level of health that I've gotten to. Mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, physical health. I am so jazzed about that, and I want to keep talking about that, particularly mental health. It would have been easy for Levi to give up after Men's Health suggested that he just wasn't big enough to play a superhero, but he wasn't working out for anyone but himself. He added, "I just feel like we're in a place, particularly nowadays, where people need to be encouraged and informed on what self-love is, and to go and genuinely embrace themselves and love themselves. So I'm really happy about all of that."
Sorry. I just had to reboot.
As the star of one of the most long-lived superhero film franchises, Hugh Jackman has been contractually obligated to keep his body in a near-constant state of shreddedness since 1999. That's just how it goes when you're famous for playing a character whose costume often consists of one pair of adamantium claws and a veiny pair of pecs. But how did Jackman transform from a 6'2", 180-pound beanpole into the muscle-bound Wolverine? He is everything that goes into making and maintaining his incredible physique. He never skips the gym. If you've been watching Jackman play Wolverine since the very beginning, you might have noticed that he hasn't just kept himself in shape, he's clearly set out to make each of his appearances even more physically intimidating than the last. When Jackman first showed up in 2000's X-Men, he looked good, but in an achievable way. Like your friend from work who goes to the gym in the morning and only drinks light beer. Celebrity trainer David Kingsbury revealed Jackman's formula for success, and it involves going to the gym 6 days a week, twice a day. The actor follows a 4-week workout cycle when he's planning to slip back into his adamantium-laced bones. The first 3 weeks are all about lifting heavy and pushing huge amounts of weight for only a few repetitions. The 4th week, Jackman deloads and lifts smaller amounts but at a higher volume, which stimulates muscle growth so that he'll be as big as possible on screen. The whole thing is pretty much murder on his wardrobe.
There's boxes in my storage, fat suits, skinny suits, normal suits. And and right now, in this shape, I don't have any suits.
Jackman told the LA Times that there's one thing that he favors above all when it comes to transforming his body for a new X-Men movie, the deadlift. And that's not just a clever pun. He eats all the food. When it comes to building a screen-ready physique, your workouts are less than half the battle.
Now you gotta train hard. But if you don't eat right, none of it matters.
To get Wolverine-style muscles, Jackman has to seriously shovel it in. Jackman told Men's Fitness, "I eat more, but I eat a lot stricter. 70% of your physique is your diet, and diet is the biggest change that happens. There were times when I would literally eat with the mindset of working out. One more mouthful, one more, come on, you've got to finish this meal." The actor's X-Men diet of 6,000 calories per day was recommended by a guy who knows a thing or two about getting buff for a role.
Yeah, I literally rang Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. I said, man, I've seen you in some movies. I said, what's going on? What do I do?
And before you go thinking that this doesn't sound so terrible, keep in mind that Jackman's superhero diet is high in calories but low in carbs, which means that he has to get those 6,000 calories primarily in the form of grilled chicken breast, spinach, and the occasional scoop of brown rice. Though Jackman was seen celebrating with some very undiet-like foods after Logan finished filming. He uses what nature gave him. Before you spend the rest of your life weeping into a bowl of buttered popcorn over the unattainable awesomeness of Hugh Jackman's abs, know that getting a body like his isn't just a question of chicken breast, bicep curls, and impeccable genes. Jackman's trainer explained that the actor's diet and training regimen included the use of creatine, a supplement that stimulates muscle growth beyond what the body can accomplish on its own. He explained, "We used a pre-workout product called Animal Pump. While bulking, we used creatine in the product, and when cutting, we reduced, and then removed the creatine. It's not exactly the Weapon X program. Even the strictest anti-doping regulators are cool with the use of creatine, and it's been a regular item on the menu for bodybuilders and athletes since the 1990s. But it is one of the reasons why you don't look like Wolverine despite your best efforts." Broadway bud. Jackman is a stage actor first and foremost, with a background on Broadway. He'd be the first to tell you that Wolverine, for all his exceptional talents, would not be much of a dancer. So, the actor doesn't hang on to his superheroic physique when he's doing shows in between superhero flicks. He told the LA Times, "When I dance, I drop a muscle very quickly. The body is very smart and efficient, and a traditional dancer's body is not going to be bulked up on top because they are muscles you don't really need." While doing stage work may cost Jackman his biceps, it also has the benefit of keeping Jackman in terrific shape. When the cameras stop rolling, the actor still stays busy and active, and doesn't let himself go. So when it comes time to bulk up berserker style, he's starting from a very good place. He stays accountable. Getting in superhero shape isn't just diet and exercise. It's also a question of mindset and motivation. So, where does Jackman get the mental fortitude to endure the months of torture that precede a new X-Men flick? He gets it from you, of course. Jackman always makes sure his followers know when he's back in the gym. And that's not just because he enjoys watching his Instagram likes roll in. When you've taught your fans to expect photos and video of you doing clap push-ups or deadlifting the weight of a fat Shetland pony, you've got to bring it at the gym or risk disappointing them. So when you follow Jackman on Instagram and dutifully press that little heart icon for his clips from the gym, you're doing your part to make sure he shows up in Logan looking like a muscular nest of pythons with a human head.
Josh Brolin has been a formidable presence in Hollywood since he was a teen, but these days his body is getting as much attention as his body of work. The acclaimed actor has packed on a ton of muscle for an upcoming larger-than-life role. Here's how Josh Brolin got so massively jacked for his role as Cable in Deadpool 2. Comically large. Brolin's ascension to swollenness began on the page, with the actor taking a few drawings of Cable to one of his personal trainers to get specific about what he wanted. But here's the thing, Cable's most well-known look was put together by Rob Liefeld, an artist whose work is frequently defined by insanely pumped-up, stylized, and unrealistic body shapes. Justin Lovato, a personal trainer and bodybuilder who worked with Brolin on his look, said to get even halfway close to the insanely huge upper body Cable has in the comics, Brolin spent 3 hours a day in the gym for 6 weeks straight. Killing the carbs. Brolin had to wean himself off of carbohydrates to get cut like Cable, and he wasn't happy about it at first. In one of many of his inspirational Instagram posts, Brolin laid it all out. Cable's coming, growing from the inside. Clean building from a past of donut travel to the present hard case that he is. No sugar, no bread, no pastas. The machine is being built. I'm pissed off. In another post, a recording of an upper body workout, he shared his pride in going totally clean. No drugs, none of it. Fish, rice, eggs, veggies, water. I'm almost 50. It's a different time. Our access, along with some big picture discipline, results in always surprising milestones. Get on the train. Cheat day. To transform into Cable, Brolin says it required intense mental focus to stay in a fit frame of mind. But it's also okay to have a cheat day as long as it benefits that mindset. This challenge has been an awakening that there is no excuse ever, but there's no need for perfection. Cheat days replenish and tell your body it's okay. It keeps it from panicking, which usually shuts it down and ends up giving you a worse result. Keep at it, then when the day comes, murder that friggin' donut. Support network. Of course, no one gets movie star buff without a little professional help, and Brolin acknowledged that the progress he made with his body is the result of a team effort, writing "It takes a small village" in an Instagram post, tipping his hat to his trainer. And of course, he always has a shout out for Catherine Brolin, his wife, business partner, and frequently the eye behind the camera for his fitness clips on social media. The actor also finds encouragement through fellow members of the Thespian League of Muscleheads, performers like professional wrestler turned actor Dave Bautista, a man Brolin calls his great swole mentor. Brolin also related a delightful encounter he had with the man who plays Drax the Destroyer in a post on Instagram. Just saw Dave Bautista at the gym and he said, "What the f*** happened to you?" Haha, best compliment ever. Friendly competition. While positive encouragement is always nice, having a rival can be beneficial as well, encouraging a spirit of competition. Brolin has gotten plenty of that motivation from Deadpool 2 co-star Ryan Reynolds, who tagged social media photos of Cable, #PremiumCable, and #Maximum. For his part, Brolin is more than capable of firing back. On Instagram, he shared a photo of the two stars side by side on competing magazine covers. Ryan Reynolds' smartass secrets or Josh Brolin's beating his demons to become Hollywood's go-to Hellraiser? It's just not fair. On brand. Along with his wife Catherine, the actor recently launched an activewear clothing line, Prevail, which he promotes in his workout posts and frequently sports. It's not just for his own bottom line either. The limited edition Cable Swole line of t-shirts, tank tops, and hoodies benefits organizations like the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So in addition to keeping him healthy, getting swole for Deadpool 2 has also helped the 49-year-old raise money for charity and promote the family business. Double duty. Brolin is not only getting ripped to play Cable, he's also staying fit to once again play Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. Yes, Thanos is largely CGI and makeup, but the wizards at Marvel will also be putting as much of Brolin's physical performance on screen as they can through the process of motion capture. Fortunately, Brolin's done the hard work, and the whole world will get to see the fruits of his labor when the 1-2 punch of a new Avengers movie and Deadpool 2 hit cinemas in 2018.
As one of the 6 original Avengers, Scarlett Johansson has been playing Black Widow, otherwise known as Natasha Romanoff, for the better part of a decade. But being one of the fittest forces in the MCU didn't come easily, at all. Scarlett Johansson made her MCU debut back in 2010 when she first portrayed Black Widow in Iron Man 2. Since then, she's had to maintain a high level of fitness. Following the release of Avengers Endgame in April 2019, her personal trainer Eric Johnson told The Hollywood Reporter, "Scarlett always wants to be within 3 weeks out of her peak condition." Of course, she's taken on plenty of other physically demanding roles outside of the Marvel Universe, like her roles in Lucy and Ghost in the Shell. As she told E! News, getting herself in fighting shape for Ghost in the Shell was no walk in the park.
Going to the gym, eating clean, and working a long day, and then going to bed and sleeping well and getting up and doing it again the next day.
Even though Johansson was a total stranger to the gym when she was cast as Black Widow, it sounds like they're old friends now. As she told The Hollywood Reporter, "The gift of fitness has been one of the best parts about working for Marvel. I'm stronger and more capable now than I was 10 years ago." So how did she go from being a total noob to getting totally ripped? As her trainer Eric Johnson points out, Black Widow is no ordinary role. We're trying to create this crazy comic book hero in real life with someone who's normal. The workout routine is truly extraordinary. Let's see if you think you can handle it. The actress has been training with Johnson since 2009, but working out didn't necessarily come naturally to her. In 2019, Johnson told The Hollywood Reporter that her first rope climb was something of a disaster. On the way up, she kneed me in the face and gave me a nice bloody nose. She was celebrating and I'm fighting back tears, gushing blood. But she learned quick. Johansson was reportedly way more competent by the time she filmed The Avengers, according to Hollywood stuntwoman Heidi Moneymaker. Incidentally, Heidi's sister Renee is also a stuntwoman.
Yes, that is our real last name. We were born with it.
In 2012, Heidi told Shape magazine, "Johansson is one of my favorite actresses I have ever worked with. She works very hard and picks things up really fast." Scarlett Johansson developed a great relationship with Heidi Moneymaker right off the bat. Strictly speaking, Moneymaker was hired to do things Johansson couldn't and wouldn't do. But in the end, Moneymaker taught the actress that she could do a lot of the stunts herself.
Heidi was like my beacon of hope. She like lit the way and she was incredible. Heidi is so creative in her movement and all the movements really tell a story.
When the pair reconvened for 2012's The Avengers, they took their working relationship to the next level and squeezed in sneaky workout sessions between takes. With hand-to-hand combat and weapons training on the agenda, it was still hard work. Moneymaker told Shape, "Scarlett is such a professional and works incredibly hard, so she learned all her fights and performed them with perfect execution." The words bodybuilding and veganism don't usually go hand in hand, but more people are discovering just how beneficial the diet can be while training, including Thor actor Chris Hemsworth. The stacked Aussie star went vegan while training for 2012's The Avengers, and so did Johansson. Well, almost. According to Johansson's former trainer Bobby Strom, the actress was on a, quote, mostly vegan diet at the time. In an interview with Ikarazzi, Johansson quipped, "After lots of fighting and training and raw vegan food, you can fit into a catsuit." She ate lots of kale as she tried to get fit for the first Avengers film, but when the shoot was done, so was the vegan diet. She confessed to Fox News, "Buffalo chicken wings. I am addicted to them." Scarlett Johansson's next appearance as Black Widow came in 2014's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Starring alongside super ripped actor Chris Evans is likely to make even the most confident performer feel inadequate, but Johansson clearly rose to the challenge. Talking to Elle in 2013, she revealed, "I like lifting weights and doing exercises to work my core muscles. To be honest, I work out like a guy." It's this heavy focus on weightlifting paired with her strict diet that gets Johansson where she needs to be. Johansson told Access Hollywood, "It's boring 5 a.m. workouts and salad and chicken and nothing else pretty much. It's that old tried and true, work out like a dude and eat like a rabbit." Johansson also followed that routine when it was time to get in shape for 2015's Avengers: Age of Ultron. "We picked up the same program we'd used for Iron Man 2, and it had a proven history." Scarlett Johansson took a rather extreme approach to training for Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar, her trainer Eric Johnson revealed Johansson would often fast for 12 hours a day, sometimes even longer. At moments, we pushed beyond that to 14 to 15 hours, depending on the filming schedule. Johnson spilled even more dirt on Johansson's diet to The Hollywood Reporter, claiming Johansson dropped carbs in the days leading up to the shoot in order to get some extra enhancement on her cuts. That's just the kind of ruthlessly sneaky maneuver we'd come to expect from Black Widow, isn't it?
I adore you.
Actor Tom Hardy often portrays characters that are dangerous, cold, and calculating. That makes him the perfect choice to play Venom, the slimy anti-hero at the center of Marvel's Spider-Man spin-off. We are Venom. Hardy seems to have the ability to physically transform himself for any role. Here's a rundown of his most remarkable transformations over the years, all of which helped him get the physique necessary to play Venom. Dropping weight for Stewart. Tom Hardy is far from a natural athlete. He's admitted to feeling small and skinny and vulnerable as a child, and was intimidated by the gym because of all the testosterone. His first dedicated physical transformation began with the 2007 biopic Stewart: A Life Backwards. Hardy lost a whole lot of weight to portray Stewart Shorter, a homeless heroin addict with muscular dystrophy. He lost almost 30 pounds for the role, but took a relatively healthy approach to his body transformation. Hardy worked with a personal trainer, ran several miles a day, and kept a diet rich in protein, including eating as much spinach and greens as he wanted. Fortunately for his sanity, the training and diet regimen only lasted 5 or 6 weeks. Bulking up for Bronson. When he began training for the lead role in Bronson, Hardy needed to pack on serious weight. He told I Love Film,
I probably weighed about 11 stone with drenched with stones in my pockets.
To play the notoriously violent criminal, Hardy only had 5 weeks to bulk up. Using a bare-bones workout routine, Hardy managed to miraculously put on 7 pounds a week. His trainer, ex-Marine Patrick Peanut Monroe, added lots of variations to his workouts, making every rep difficult in one way or another.
We had to develop a solitary physique, the kind of physique you would develop if you only had 4 walls and a floor.
Upping intensity for Warrior. For his next film, Warrior, Tom Hardy demonstrated impressive discipline while preparing for his role as a Marine turned MMA fighter. Hardy packed on slabs of lean muscle to convincingly portray a professional athlete, and his daily training regimen was tough. He even lifted weights with his teeth to build neck muscles. You heard that right.
So it was like 2 hours boxing, 2 hours kickboxing, Muay Thai, then 2 hours choreography a day, and then 2 hours lifting every day.
The actor ate 5 or 6 high-protein meals per day and wound up 29 pounds heavier than when he trained for Bronson. Beefing up for Bane. To play the masked villain Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, Hardy needed to appear larger than life, which he achieved by packing on even more size. Prior to shooting, Hardy appeared on Chatty Man and opened up about the physical demands of the role.
Again, I've got to go up to about 13.5, 14 stone, and I'm 12 and a bit now. So I've got 3 months to do that.
How'd you bulk up?
Fat, a lot of fat.
Packing on 30 pounds brought Hardy's weight up considerably. He was almost 200 pounds by the time filming began. But as he told Jonathan Ross, that still wasn't enough to intimidate Christian Bale on the first day of shooting.
And I looked at him and he was looking at me like, oh yeah. I'm Batman.
Losing mass for Max. In order to play the title character in Mad Max Fury Road, Hardy had to lose 30 pounds, the same amount of weight he gained to play Bane. He told Collider he wanted to look like a hungry wolf, or like when you put a cat in the bath. Hardy reached his goal in a surprising way by smoking cigarettes and eating only 1 meal per day. Once the weight was dropped, the next step was 3 or 4 months of fight training. Hardy didn't exactly have time to rest when cameras were rolling either. He told Men's Fitness,
and it's a very physical shoot from the beginning, from the training right through to the 6 months of shooting on the ground.
Finding his inner Venom. By the time Venom started filming in October 2017, Hardy was already a master at transforming his body. He got ripped for the role by applying tools he'd accumulated over years of hard work with no quick fix or magic ingredient. He required guidance from professional MMA fighter Nathan Jones and personal trainer Mark Mean, and trained in a combination of boxing, MMA, and kickboxing.
He's a good student, receptive, open to learning.
Judging from a sparring video Jones posted on Instagram, Hardy adapted to the challenge quickly.
Listen, I'm just setting the plan. Tommy's doing the work.
Hardy's got a lot to live up to given Venom's reputation, but considering the actor's ability to fully commit to a role, there should be no doubts. Peter Parker, look out.
Chadwick Boseman followed in the footsteps of a whole host of elite superhero actors by getting seriously ripped for his role as T'Challa in Black Panther. But his Hollywood fitness journey actually started well before he joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Here's some insight into how Chadwick got chiseled. The path to Panther. T'Challa isn't Boseman's first physically demanding role. In 2013, he portrayed Jackie Robinson in the biographical drama 42. As well as capturing Robinson's off-field contribution to the civil rights movement, Boseman needed to appear authentically athletic for scenes on the field. To prepare, Boseman trained twice a day for 3.5 months, following the same technique as the pros. In an interview with GQ, he referred to the sessions as madness due to the strain such activity places on the body. Aside from swinging his hips and shuffling, Boseman's appearance as the godfather of soul, James Brown, must have been a breeze compared to 42, right? Wrong. When portraying a musician as influential as Brown, the pressure is on, not only to sound the same, but to move the same as well. Boseman had to do the splits while filming Get On Up, not once, but 96 times. The actor admitted that day's shooting was harder than any activity he performed as Jackie Robinson. Secret training. Unlike some of his fellow MCU stars, Boseman has remained tight-lipped when it comes to divulging the secret of his regimen. When asked by E! News prior to Civil War's release, he refused to share any inside information for those looking to emulate his results. A lot of strength and flexibility, but I'm not going to say any more. I can't say or reveal their training secrets. Though Boseman hasn't disclosed the specifics of his workout plan, all actors in the MCU are notoriously put through their paces, and he won't escape what Captain America himself, Chris Evans, refers to as absolutely brutal sessions.
A couple hours a day, and it was brutal. The tricky part was eating.
You have to eat lots?
Just eating everything all the time.
But the key to achieving Boseman's lean physique likely lies more with the classic bodybuilding techniques, including circuit training and a less substantial diet that still adds power to Black Panther's claws. While Evans needed to pack on the pounds in a short span of time, Boseman's goal of remaining lean meant he could increase his body mass at a slower rate. This meant an extra emphasis on cardiovascular and circuit training to burn more calories. For explosive movements, Boseman would focus on plyometric training, which increases power by working on fast-twitch muscle fibers. Combat work likely tops it all off, with training in a variety of martial arts. Losing muscle for Marshall. Sandwiched between performances as Black Panther, Boseman played Thurgood Marshall in the 2017 biopic Marshall, replacing Civil War's airport battles with clashes in the courtroom. Understandably, Boseman would look out of place as the future Supreme Court justice if he maintained the mask. So to fit tailored trousers and well-fitted blazers, the actor needed to strip away 25 pounds of hard-earned muscle. Between the rap on Marshall and the beginning of Black Panther's production in January 2017, Boseman needed to recover lost muscle mass to ensure his shoulders could carry the weight of expectation for his return as T'Challa. With the added spotlight and increased screen time, Boseman's training regimen will presumably have been even more intense than his Civil War workout, but the principles will remain the same, a gradual progression of lean mass.
Sebastian Stan may play a superhero on the big screen, but he's well aware that the Winter Soldier's bionic arm can't pull all the weight itself. Here's the fitness routine Stan used to get into superheroic shape. Just like the Winter Soldier himself has changed allegiances over the course of his time in the MCU, Sebastian Stan's fitness routine has undergone similar alterations. The actor sat down for an interview alongside his trainer Don Saladino, in which he discussed how landing the Marvel role forced him to reconsider how he was exercising. Prior to getting the part, he said,
I felt like I was just doing what I think a lot of people do, when they're out there. It's just they just know to go to the gym, but you don't have a plan, really.
When he first donned the mantle of the Winter Soldier, that's when things started to change. For Captain America the Winter Soldier, he had a pretty simple mission in mind: to look good shirtless. Clearly, he achieved that goal and then some. But things started to turn when he was set to reprise the role in Captain America Civil War. He may have just wanted to look good for Winter Soldier, but for the sequel, he said, I knew these guys were going to be massive around me. I was like, let's just get as thick as possible. Throughout his time in these superhero movies, Sebastian Stan's chest has regularly been on display. This has necessitated the actor to really focus on that area of the body, and his trainer put together what's clearly an awesome regimen to accomplish precisely that. Saladino told Men's Journal, I threw in a lot of gymnastic movements before we even started training. Before every workout, there was about 20 to 30 minutes of functional movement. Fun bodyweight exercises like this got us warmed up, but also got us excited to train. From there, he goes into 5 minutes of handstands, 5 minutes of Turkish get-ups, 5 minutes of arm bars, and 5 minutes of front levers. Stan's routine then transitions into 2 separate weight blocks, the first of which consists of flat dumbbell presses, dumbbell squeeze presses, and cable flies. The second block has him doing inclined barbell presses, alternating flat dumbbell presses and dips. The arms were another area that Saladino helped Stan to develop. The trainer told Men's Journal, the fact is, biceps and shoulders aren't a major muscle group, so I like to throw in an arm day when the rest of the body isn't feeling up to being pushed. When you are trying to build the arms, I always like to start with a heavy movement, putting pressure on the tissue. There are 2 workouts Stan does on arm days. The first is a kettlebell carry workout, which starts with an overhead carry of 50 yards for each arm. He then goes into a rack carry for 50 yards. A bottom-up carry for 50 yards, a one-arm suitcase carry for 50 yards, and a farmer's walk of 100 yards to finish it off. To work out his arms, Stan got into various forms of weightlifting, including tricep pushdowns, hammer curls, skull crushers, and heavy barbell curls. If anything, the results of this regimen may have worked out too well. Stan told Men's Health that when he got fitted for his prop arm for Captain America Civil War, it no longer comfortably fit on him. When it comes to getting in shape, what you eat plays just as important a role as how much you're exercising. For Sebastian Stan, that means sticking with a diet that allows him to stay lean while still packing on muscle mass. And according to Fitness Clone, it involves plenty of vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats. When training for his Winter Soldier role, Stan tends to eat once every 2 to 3 hours and avoids anything that could undo all the process he made in the gym, including refined sugars, salts, and commercial meats. Perhaps it shouldn't come as a surprise that Stan doesn't really eat at restaurants while he's training, because he can't really get anything that tastes halfway decent. On top of that, Stan makes sure to get adequate sleep when he can, somewhere in the vicinity of 8 to 10 hours a night. As it turns out, sleep is one of the best things a person can do when trying to pack on muscle, as it accounts for a great deal of the body's muscle repair and growth. It's one thing to look buff on camera, it's another thing entirely to put your fitness regimen to the ultimate test to perform fight scenes and ridiculous stunts. As it turns out, Stan is willing to put himself wholeheartedly into his role, as confirmed by his stunt double for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, John Nunnia. During an episode of the Screen Forum podcast, the stuntman talks about what a pleasure it was to work alongside the actor for the Disney Plus series. There's gonna be quite a few moments where it's more a lot of Stan than you're looking at doing certain parts, because he stepped up and he put the training in. From that point, it was like, well, we know he can do this, let's push it even farther. Nunnia goes on to tell the Screen Forum podcast, I don't think the Winter Soldier is quite over with in the Marvel Universe. There's still a lot more to ride out on that one, and I look forward to being part of it. It may not be an official confirmation of Season 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we'll take what we can get at this point. It's a lot of hard work to play a super soldier, but Stan has proven he's up for the challenge time and time again. Robert Pattinson, the world's newest Bruce Wayne, recently revealed that he's in the process of buffing up for the Batman. But what exactly does that training regimen entail? Here's how the English actor is getting ready for his next big role. They say that abs are made in the kitchen, but revealed in the gym, and Pattinson implemented a pretty particular method of eating to build a superhero physique. In his own words, Pattinson is an extremist when it comes to his eating choices, and that he'll go on a months-long junk food bender before it comes time for him to drop weight. Pattinson apparently took this approach for the Batman. During an interview with BuzzFeed in October 2019, he claimed, I'll eat nothing but pizzas for months, so by the time I have to diet, my body is like, thank God, please only healthy stuff from now. He also mentioned that he had begun a process of bulking up for the Batman. For those unaware, bulking is a common dietary practice and can be done by everyone from professional athletes to actors prepping for a role to an everyday person wanting to literally bulk up their body, either in preparation for a muscle-defining weight cut or simply to keep extra pounds on their frame in general. There's no one right way to bulk, though two of the most popular and well-known methods are clean bulking and dirty bulking. Those who practice a clean bulk gain mass by eating a caloric surplus, taking in more calories than their basal metabolic rate, or BMR. That's the total amount of energy one expends simply by being alive. A clean bulk involves choosing healthier foods to chow down on. Think oatmeal and brown rice, almond and peanut butter, proteins like salmon, chicken, and lean beef, and healthy fats like avocados, olive oil, and full-fat coconut milk. Those who dirty bulk, on the other hand, smashing calories from all kinds of sources. The denser, the better. And from his interviews, that sounds like the route Pattinson took.
Who's that man? Is that a hot dog? New York hot dog. The kind that makes you fall in love.
While his best friends at one point may have been Papa John and Little Caesar, Pattinson has now adopted a cleaner diet and has cut out more than just the carbs. In a feature for the health and fitness magazine Healthy for Men, it's noted that Pattinson cut down on alcohol and reduced his intake of processed meat in addition to resisting the temptation of fried foods, all in the effort to get his body into superhero shape. Giving up beer and saying so long to something deep-fried may be difficult for us everyday people, but for Pattinson and other superhero actors, it's all part of the job. And from the way he described his pizza-heavy phase, his body probably thanked him switching to a healthier eating plan. For actors looking to change their bodies for a film, a fitness routine goes hand in hand with their diet of choice. Sometimes that involves very little working out and a whole lot of pies. Christian Bale's combo of choice when he was gaining weight to play former Vice President Dick Cheney in Vice. Other times, it requires pushing a 5,000-pound Jeep across a parking lot and only eating junk food as a reward for working out, which is what Brie Larson did while prepping for Captain Marvel. Point is, exercise, or lack thereof, is just as important as diet when it comes to transforming your body. Pattinson's a smart guy, so he knows this. Thankfully, his new perspective on exercise made his Batman movie prep a lot easier. While speaking to interviewer Margaret Gardner during the Lighthouse press circuit in the fall of 2019, Pattinson revealed that he was weirdly looking forward to getting in shape for the Batman, which is all thanks to his new feelings about exercise. He shared with a laugh, "I didn't like exercise when I was younger. Now as I've kind of gotten older, I'm suddenly getting aware of aging. It's like I need to put some effort in. Otherwise, I'm gonna need a hip replacement." The actor followed up on that thought in a separate interview with BuzzFeed, saying, "I used to hate working out. In my 30s, I find it very meditative. It's weird. When you feel like someone's not forcing it on you and you're doing it for yourself, it's a very different experience. I'm really looking forward to it." When the time came to put thoughts into action and begin working out for the Batman, Pattinson kept his exercise routine varied. According to Healthy for Men, the actor would perform a 5-minute cardio workout, followed by a strength training circuit consisting of crunches, side bends, and other core work. Pattinson also picked up a habit of regularly running 3 to 6 miles 3 to 4 times per week. The actor also took up boxing, and have been spotted doing what Healthy for Men called military-style sandbag routines, likely to add excitement into his exercise regime and to increase strength and agility. Beyond the standard gym stuff, Pattinson took time to unwind while still getting outside and moving about, taking long walks to rest the body and soothe the mind. Sounds like Pattinson will be one balanced dude. In interviews, Pattinson has opened up about what it's been like to take on the role of Batman. For the actor, who's received most acclaim for his turns in drama that didn't require physical transformations, he knows looking like Bruce Wayne is just as important as acting like him. He admitted that the lockdowns that world governments imposed in the face of the coronavirus pandemic have impacted his progress, but he's determined to keep going and do his absolute best as a new Batman, because ultimately, this has been an exciting learning experience for Pattinson. He told Healthy for Men, "In every project I've ever taken on, I've come into it wanting to learn and to achieve new things. That's usually in the embodiment of a character and someone who has a different personality to me. But taking on a full physical transformation as well feels even more exciting. A few years ago, I would have run a mile from anything with a physical edge." Pattinson continued, sharing that he does wonder whether he can live up to expectations in terms of both physicality and his actual performance, but he understands that's normal. Plus, he knows the onus isn't entirely on him to look unbelievably buff. Pattinson apparently plans to continue getting ripped without damaging his body and then let movie-making magic take care of the rest. You look at the true warriors of the superhero genre, Hemsworth, The Rock, Downey Jr., Evans, and wonder if you're putting yourself in the wrong place. And yet, having spoken to a few, I know everyone is nervous when the opportunity comes about. It's all about pushing boundaries and building up to a point where you know you can do justice to the physicality required. And past that, so much of it is letting the special effects and on-screen exchanges produce the real magic. Overall, it's just very exciting. Fans can see the fruits of Robert Pattinson's labor when The Batman hits theaters on October 1st, 2021.
The first couple of Thor movies lacked a little something, at least when compared to the likes of Iron Man and Captain America the Winter Soldier. That all changed when director Taika Waititi came on board to helm Thor Ragnarok, the third installment to the series and a film that completely changed what was possible within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Waititi will be coming back for the sequel, Thor Love and Thunder, and based on everything we know about the film so far, he's going to take these heroes in even wilder directions than before. In addition to having the Guardians of the Galaxy play a role, Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, is returning to the superhero franchise after being absent from Ragnarok. This time around, though, she's not just playing a love interest, she's donning the title of Mighty Thor herself. And by the looks of an exclusive behind-the-scenes photo that Looper obtained from Backgrid, she's taking the part very seriously. But preparing for her big superhero role by never skipping arm day shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone familiar with Portman's career. The Academy Award winner has always gone above and beyond to reflect the characters she plays. Most famously, she actually shaved her head when her character had to do the same in V for Vendetta, but even that pales in comparison to what she had to do for Black Swan. Ballerinas naturally have to be in exceptional physical condition to dance the way they do, and to properly showcase the art form, Portman reportedly trained 6 days a week for up to 8 hours a day so that she could really dance like a ballerina. Her training regimen there was obviously different from what she's doing to become Thor, but it's clear she has the perseverance to adhere to any workout schedule. Even when Natalie Portman isn't necessarily training for a role, she knows how to stay in shape. In a 2019 interview with Women's Health, the megastar discussed how she keeps up her strength even when her schedule gets hectic. As she described it, "I run maybe 3 times a week. When I'm running for a full hour, it feels a little like meditation to me." Later, she discusses how she's a fan of a style of exercise known as gyrotonics, which essentially consists of movements you'll find with Tai Chi, yoga, gymnastics, and other disciplines all wrapped into one convenient package. Ultimately, it sounds like she keeps an open mind and exercises in whatever manner is most convenient in the moment, stating, "I used to do Ashtanga, but now I'll just get there and I'll try anything." Considering the results, we'd say this routine has definitely worked well for her. And what Portman has shared in public about her training so far sounds brutal. She went on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon to offer an update on Thor: Love and Thunder, and while shooting hadn't started at the time, Portman was already being put through the ringer. And from the sound of things, she wasn't exactly in the best place mentally to start an intense regimen. She told Fallon, "I'm trying. I've had months of pandemic, eating baked goods and lying in bed and feeling sorry for myself."
I'm super tired after working out.
Yeah.
And during.
Yeah.
And dreading before.
Around that same time, she also stopped by Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, where she was asked if she had to be on a workout plan similar to her co-star Chris Hemsworth. She said that she was, and she wasn't taking to it very easily.
Yes, I am training, and I'm in so much pain. I'm not good at this.
Maddie Black, formerly a CrossFit coach with Vogue Fitness, offered some of her insight into how Portman could accomplish such gains in an interview with Holland Live. She said, "Natalie will be carrying out lots of compound weightlifting movements, such as squatting, pressing, and pulling. In order to remain lean for the role, she'll be implementing some high-intensity interval training into her weekly routine." She goes on to explain how she would go about designing an exercise regimen for someone wanting the kind of arms Jane Foster's Thor has in the comics, declaring, "Weightlifting would form the foundation base, whilst functional training would develop skills, improve flexibility, and enhance endurance." We may not know exactly how heavy her weights are, but it's definitely clear she's been pumping iron in one way or another. We didn't think there was any way Portman could look more intimidating than in her Natalie Raps video, but judging from those guns, she just proved us wrong.
She's not a bird or a plane, and she's definitely not Superman. Melissa Benoist is CW's Supergirl, but how did she get ready for the part? Let's take a look at how this self-proclaimed musical theater nerd got into fighting condition to play the high-flying, hard-punching Supergirl. You don't just get handed a role like Supergirl. Melissa Benoist had to go through a rigorous audition process before she got anywhere close to landing the role. The wait was made even more excruciating because, according to Benoist, she was among the first actors to audition for the part. The first audition was in October 2014, and it was just the start of what would become a months-long process. She told Entertainment Weekly that she didn't learn she landed the part until February 2015. In the interim, she said, "I went through multiple screen tests, multiple auditions with the producing team. There was a lot." During that extensive audition process, Variety reported that Benoist found a champion in producer Greg Berlanti. Benoist said, "Greg championed me the whole time and was in my corner. Even when I didn't think the part was mine, he was always rooting for me. That support goes a long way, especially when I'm fighting for something I want so badly. His belief in me really touched me." Berlanti echoed the sentiment, praising the Supergirl star by saying, "If we had not found her, I would have said, I don't want to make this." The first episode aired almost a year after that first audition, on October 26, 2015. She's inhabited the role ever since, serving as an inspiration for fans around the world.
Are there a million little girls that dress up as Supergirl now as a result of the show?
Every Halloween, there are quite a bit of Supergirl.
One thing that all superheroes have in common are incredible abs, and Benoist Supergirl is no exception. She said in interviews that to prepare for the role of Kara Zor-El, she focused on both strength training and core work, getting toned with a combination of Pilates, boxing, and plyometrics. If you've never had a reason to get into superhero shape, you might be wondering what plyometrics are. Plyometrics involve exerting your body to its maximum ability for a short period of time, for example, by jumping to improve strength, speed, and power. As Benoist found out, plyo routines are far from easy work.
I did quite a bit of training. We did this stuff called plyometrics, which is jump training, and all of it was really hard, just hard things.
All that focus on the core isn't just for the sake of looking good. It also comes in handy when you're doing flying stunts.
To do the flying stunts, I'm up in a wire and you have to hold your entire body weight, so there's a lot of training involved.
Melissa Benoist wasn't the only cast member who had to up her workout intensity to give the action sequences the effort they deserved. Kyla Lee, who plays Kara's adoptive sister Alex, said that the actors work really hard with the stunt coordinators to get the fight scenes just right. And those action-packed days are full-on workouts in their own right. She told CBS Watch magazine, "When we do fight scenes, we're working out for 6 hours, just doing the same thing. We are burnt for the next few days. I think that's where I really get my caloric burn count." Even when they aren't shooting, Lee and Benoist try to use their periods of waiting around that happen on the set of a TV show to stay in shape. She said, "Melissa and I try to do as much as we possibly can. In my trailer, I've got resistance bands and medicine balls and things like that. I try to do it in between, but we have very little downtime." The two on-screen sisters also have a shared interest in Pilates, which Lee says she fits into her schedule when she can. And you thought TV sets were all hanging out in trailers enjoying craft services?
Yes!
Another crucial element of being a superhero is being able to convincingly kick some villainous butt. This didn't come naturally to Benoist, who confessed to the Chicago Tribune, "I had never punched anyone. I maybe slapped my sisters when I was a kid, but I am not an aggressive, violent person, and I had no idea how to throw a punch." In order to help herself find her inner fighter, Benoist took up boxing. She told InStyle, "I definitely had to learn technique, like how to actually punch someone and not hurt yourself more than you're hurting the person you're punching." Fortunately for Benoist, she had access to excellent tutors. In addition to the stunt team, former karate and kickboxing world champion Lexi Alexander directed an episode in the first season. Her directing stint was short, but Alexander told Den of Geek that she pushed her star to the limit, saying, "This was a brand new thing for everybody involved, and everybody was excited that a real fighter was getting Melissa Benoist to the next level of fight choreography." In fact, the change in Benoist's technique was so dramatic that Alexander said the series stunt team changed Benoist's fighting style going forward to incorporate her expert tips. So while Benoist might at heart still be more a lover than a fighter, we still wouldn't want to challenge her to throw down at this point.
I actually kind of love it.
Believe it or not, it really is Benoist doing some of those hair-raising stunts on the show. The actress told Variety that she likes to get involved with the action when she can, saying, "I have been doing a lot of stunts and I want to keep doing them. Supergirl's fight moves are boxing. She's really heavy-handed. There's some flying that involves kicking and punching mid-flight that's kind of awesome." However, not everyone was thrilled with Benoist's hand-on approach to fights. Her mom, Julie, told her that she found it difficult to watch her daughter's fight scenes, especially against men. But Julie Benoist needn't have worried. Melissa knows her limits, and she's also heaped praise on her stunt doubles. In 2015, she spoke to InStyle on the subject of stunts, saying, "I think they're so fun. There are some that I just can't. I really could get injured."
You should rest some more.
Since when has that ever worked with me?
Glee was not Benoist's first experience with musical theater. She says she's been practicing the craft since she was 4 years old, attending classes in tap, ballet, and jazz dance. But she wasn't always a perfect student, especially in ballet.
All the years I took ballet class, I was the one kid in class that the teacher was always like, "Oh, her turn out," and she is not standing up straight.
She did better with another form of dance, which she showed off in a video for Glamour.
I have a secret superpower that I can tap dance.
That dance training came in handy on the set of Supergirl, and not just for Benoist's part in the musical crossover episode of The Flash.
I have to say, I'm not impressed by your more famous cousin.
Thank you. No one ever says that.
Benoist said that her dance background helps her with the wire work and even the fight sequences. She told the Chicago Tribune, "The wire work and flying, even the choreography, kind of came like it would if I were learning a dance routine. It's also a handy skill that keeps her and the crew entertained between takes." Melissa Benoist's favorite thing about her superhero role is exactly what you'd expect: the chance to fly.
Seems like flying wouldn't be so great when you're pretending to fly.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard work. I'm essentially like attached to a fork in the air.
Despite how some skilled animators make it look on screen, flying isn't easy, especially when you have to act like it's all effortless to you. Benoist told Variety just how hard it was and how she prepared, saying, "The wire work for training is mostly core work. It's mostly ab-centric, the whole area of the body that nobody wants to work out. You have to get strong. You have to carry your whole body weight when you're up in the air. However, it's all worth all the working out to make the process run smoothly." She told People, "The wire work is really difficult, but so fun. And when you get it right, watching the result is exhilarating. It's a really, really cool feeling to know what it felt like. The energy I had to exert to create those flying scenes. And then the way it looks is really rewarding." Benoist got some help perfecting her flying technique. When Jimmy Kimmel asked how she figured out Supergirl's flying style, she had a surprising answer in store.
There's sort of this almost superhero physicality school that you kind of have to go to, where
Really?
the stunt team will teach you like how to walk like a superhero.
And that's how to look flying spandex. All that working out and on-set action builds up an appetite. But as a female superhero who's expected to squeeze into a tight superhero suit every day and have the muscles to beat up bad guys without actually looking all that bulked up, Benoist can't exactly go to town on craft services. Fortunately, she's pretty into fruits and vegetables anyway. She gushed to glamour.
I love supermarkets. I love grocery shopping. I love the produce aisle, as to be super, you have to be healthy, and I would probably stock up on all the fruits.
However, she isn't about to totally deprive herself of comfort foods. In the same Glamour interview, she said,
If I could supersize any food, it would be ice cream drumstick, vanilla caramel. They're so good.
In 2016, she told the Chicago Tribune that she was excited to attend that year's Chicago Comic-Con and Entertainment Expo, aka C2E2, not just to commune with fellow artists and fans, but because she wanted to check out the city's restaurants. As she explained, quote, I've heard the food scene is incredible, and I'm a foodie, so I can't wait to go out and eat. Benoist also said that her partiality to the occasional junk food splurge inspired the writers to add the habit into her character's personality. She said, I love junk food, I love donuts, and they put that in there quite a bit.
Do you like donuts?
Who doesn't like donuts?
I know a place.
It just goes to show that as long as you're disciplined with your workouts, you don't have to deprive yourself of every treat you love. One reason Melissa Benoist was so invested in making sure her character could be physically impressive on screen was because she wanted to inspire other women to feel strong and powerful in their own lives. In an essay for Time, she wrote, I think the more the show goes on, the more you see this fierceness and what women are really capable of. It puts Supergirl on this equal playing field. That's so meaningful to me to help children understand that girls can have just as much fun as their male counterparts in the superhero world. It's about confidence and hope, and Supergirl really embodies all of that. Even though Benoist also wrote that she grew up in a, quote, really strong feminine family, she told the Chicago Tribune, I didn't really believe that I could be that character or play a superhero. It's something I never thought of myself as doing, but I just knew I had to go for it because there's so few female superheroes and just strong females that fight back and do it with grace and do it with love. She's also said that she doesn't want the character to be a female version of male superheroes, saying, what I think is cool is to try to bring a kind of femininity to her strength. I do like the idea of bringing in like a grace to it, and the fluidity and kind of this femininity to flying. It's fun. In other words, Melissa Benoist is out here bringing new meaning to Supergirl power. Previously known for starring in Effex's hit Atlanta, Zazie Beetz was as surprised as anyone when she landed the role of super lucky mutant Domino in Deadpool 2. USA Today called her a captivating standout, and Vanity Fair proclaimed her the best thing about the R-rated sequel. She slipped into the role like she was born to play it, but getting to that point required a lot of work. Here's how Beetz got ripped for Deadpool 2.
I am naturally not one to gym.
A first time for everything. Beetz never had to work out for her roles in 2017's Geostorm or Atlanta either, but when she signed on to play Domino, she knew it was going to require her to hit the gym. She told The Hollywood Reporter, in my routine day to day, I didn't really work out that much, so it was a huge transition emotionally and physically. I'd never really brought myself that far. And she revealed it wasn't just physically exhausting telling Shadow and Act, the training ends up becoming this mental and emotional experience as well. Putting in the time. Beetz trained 4 hours a day for months to get into shape. Before filming began, she told IBT, I'm going to be shooting guns, I fight, and a lot of that movement is full body and physical. You're doing that for 12 hours a day, and they just want you to have the stamina. Reflecting on the fatal on-set accident of a stuntwoman, Joy Harris, Beetz also revealed that leading man Ryan Reynolds helped her stay focused, telling Entertainment Tonight,
It's amazing kind of watching Ryan do his thing. He is genuinely incredibly talented.
Trainer to the stars. You might not know Don Saladino by name, but you've definitely seen his work. Dubbed the superhero trainer, Saladino's client list includes Marvel stars Scarlett Johansson and Sebastian Stan, and Wolverine's Hugh Jackman. He's also trained Ryan Reynolds and his wife Blake Lively. Saladino began training Reynolds for Deadpool 2 in February 2017, which was how he became acquainted with Beetz, who admitted that she loved working with Saladino and the feeling was very much mutual. Becoming a superhero. After Deadpool 2 hit theaters, Saladino revealed to Pop Sugar that his first thought when training Beetz was, we had to turn her into more of an ass kicker. Saladino admitted that the style of training he recommended for Beetz can intimidate female clients, but he said, picking up things like kettlebells and doing things like squats and split squats, it's the stuff that works the best. It elevates the heart rate the most and is not linear and so one-dimensional like how most people train. Eating a vegan diet. Because Beetz is vegan, her diet didn't really change all that much during her Deadpool 2 training, but she told Shadow and Act, you have to change how you eat, and it also takes away your energy. Doing that alongside shooting and prepping and all that stuff, it's a lot of work, but it was also really cool. Crushing it. Playing Domino left its mark on Beetz, quite literally. She told USA Today that she has a scar on her chest from a stray shell that hit her during a shootout scene. She also passed out from exhaustion in a leather bodysuit in the middle of a fight sequence. But despite it all, she says it was absolutely worth it. She told RTE, we had been working so much and I was thinking, hopefully it will look good, and I remember doing the first take and then seeing the playback and I was like, it's f***ing amazing.
For the iconic role of Joker in Suicide Squad, Jared Leto got into incredible shape and focused on building serious muscle definition. Now he's hitting the gym again to get ready to star as the title character in the upcoming Spider-Man spin-off film Morbius. The personal training sessions for Suicide Squad were no joke. Under the guidance of trainer Brendan Johnston, the entire cast got fit together while staying at a training facility in Toronto for what they described as boot camp. Johnston had specific exercises in mind for each cast member, depending on what their character would be doing on screen. According to Men's Journal, Johnston wanted Leto to look like an MMA fighter by the time he was done working with him. How did he achieve that? For starters, Leto's regular workouts consisted of plenty of bodybuilding exercises and weighted calisthenics. He also practiced boxing, and Johnston noted that Leto was, quote, throwing a lot of punches throughout the day. Leto's regular routines also included daily cardio. The cast typically got one day off after every 4 days they spent in the gym, so there was also some mandatory rest time. Leto is living proof that you don't need to eat meat in order to build muscle. According to an interview with GQ, Leto has been vegan for over 2 decades. Clearly, it's working out pretty well for him as he credits his vegan lifestyle for his health. He does admit to cheating every once in a while and indulging in treats that contain milk or eggs, but he draws the line at consuming meat, even on special occasions. A vegan chef comes on tour with 30 Seconds to Mars. Even when the band did their Carnivores tour with Linkin Park, Leto was still fueling up on fruits and vegetables backstage. In 2014, he was named PETA's Sexiest Vegan. To get ready to play the Joker, Leto had to eat every 2 hours throughout the day to keep his energy up and his metabolism working hard. So what's Leto's #1 fitness secret? His primary piece of advice is something that seems so obvious, yet many people still underestimate its importance. When it comes to looking your best, Leto told Rolling Stone, I would tell everyone to sleep as much as you can. With his crazy schedule, he knows that it's crucial to get that full 8 hours of sleep every night. From concerts to the gym to the recording studio to the set of whatever film he's working on, he needs to be able to perform at his best every moment of the day. Some people assume that musicians and actors would rather go out every night than crawl into bed early, but for Leto, this isn't the case. It's easy to assume that an actor who dives deeply into their roles like Leto might be experimenting with certain substances off-screen. After all, he did live on the street with addicts to prepare for his role in Requiem for a Dream. But even then, Leto didn't partake, and he says that at this point, he's been totally straight edge for many years, no drugs or alcohol. Leto admitted to getting into some trouble in his younger days due to his previous alcohol and drug use. However, he eventually changed his ways, and he knows that he made the right choice. He told Rolling Stone, I guess at some point too there's a decision. Is this going to be my life? I made a choice to pursue other dreams. The risk versus reward is out of line. I just saw too many examples of what not to do. Leto hasn't yet given any specific details about his workouts for Morbius. However, he does post pretty frequently on Instagram. So far, it looks like he's been working out on his elliptical, and he also says he's been going for daily morning bike rides, even while he's on tour. Of course, touring is a workout in and of itself.
It's kind of like, a master, spinning aerobics class. Richard Simmons would be proud.
Of course, touring is a workout in itself. Although he hasn't posted about any bodybuilding workouts yet, he's most likely sticking with the lifting routine as well. Rock climbing is also one of Leto's favorite hobbies. Whether he's trying to get in shape for a particular role or not, he always makes time to climb. He told Rolling Stone climbing is also a form of stress relief for him and a way to stay balanced in the chaotic world of Hollywood. Morbius isn't due out for release until July 2020, with shooting having commenced in March 2019. But you can bet with his unmatched commitment to his work, Leto is sure to deliver as the star.
Landing a role in a superhero movie comes with more than just a nice paycheck and a steady work opportunity. Actors are now expected to get in superhuman shape for action roles, and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is no exception. Here's how she got into havoc-wreaking shape. Of course, Margot Robbie is fully dedicated to playing Harley Quinn now, but she originally got the role without even having to convince anyone she wanted it. The actress told MTV News that the team behind Suicide Squad approached her with the role, offering her the part without even having to audition.
I actually got offered this one. I didn't audition, which was a real step up as an actor when you can get offered things.
As it turns out, the producers were captivated by Robbie's performance alongside Will Smith in the 2015 movie Focus. Smith was already locked in to play Deadshot, and Suicide Squad wanted to recreate that connection when they cast their Harley Quinn.
I guess they knew that Will and I worked well together, so that was a given. We didn't have to do like chemistry reads or anything like that.
The studio's gamble paid off, and while the overall reviews for Suicide Squad were less than enthusiastic, the dynamic between Smith and Robbie was a consistent high point of the film.
You're my friend too.
Stay evil, dogface.
Margot Robbie is already in pretty great shape thanks to working out 4 or 5 times a week for an hour each session, according to Hollywood personal trainer Andy Hecker. To get in fighting shape for her comic book movie, however, she ramped that up to 3 hours per day. As part of a ballet-based fitness program that Hecker operates, Robbie worked out in 3-hour blocks nearly every day for 3 weeks while filming Suicide Squad. Hecker told People magazine that the focus on Harley's body and her skimpy costume pushed Robbie to work out that much harder. According to Hecker, there's a scene in Suicide Squad where she changes clothes in front of a bunch of dudes, so her abs needed to be impeccable, and in those tiny shorts Harley wears, her butt was constantly on display. The parts of Robbie's body that were on screen for most of Suicide Squad became the focus of her tailored workouts. Hecker came up with an exercise routine that would transform Robbie from a glamorous starlet into the tough and acrobatic Harley Quinn. According to Hecker, Margot wanted to lean out and tone up. She's already slender, but we wanted to make her a little stronger. To achieve these goals, most of Robbie's workout regimen consisted of non-bulking cardio exercises like ballet jumps. As a former dancer who runs a ballet training program, Hecker told People that the jumps ballet dancers perform are, quote, surprisingly, the most challenging form of cardio I have ever come across. But despite the relative difficulty of the exercises, Hecker said that Robbie rarely ever faltered in her commitment to the routine. Hecker compared Robbie to a machine when she spoke to the Los Angeles Times. The actress's workouts apparently resembled dance marathons, where other clients of Hecker's would steadily throw in the towel while Robbie kept at it relentlessly. Hecker shared that other people would try the workout along with us, but she kept going when other people were dropping off. It's so challenging to keep up that level of intensity, but she powered through it. Hecker also ran the actress through a weightlifting regimen intended to tone her butt, thighs, and legs. She spoke of Robbie's workout on a granular level in the lead-up to Suicide Squad's release, telling publications the exact types of exercises Robbie went through while trying to embody Harley Quinn. She said that they went for a lower number of reps with more weight, a focus on form, and engaging the correct muscle groups. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Hecker explained, "She had to look sexy and strong. We'd do lower reps, so 20 leg lifts with that ankle weight on, and then take a break to move on to the other leg to do another 20, making sure her glutes were doing it and not her hamstrings." If that robotic intensity is making you feel like you'll never be able to attain a form like Margot Robbie's, don't worry. While Hecker painted a picture of the actress as an ultra-dedicated workhorse in the gym, Robbie herself revealed that she is far from disciplined when it comes to her diet. In an interview with Emirates Woman, Robbie admitted that she can't handle calorie-cutting diets and that cutting delicious and fatty foods from her life makes her miserable. "I'm not good at doing moderation. I can't just have a salad every day and a half a glass of wine every second day. I can't do it." Robbie told the publication that her diet largely consisted of beer, fries, and burgers, which she burned off in the gym. She added that she has a rather unhealthy way of cutting weight quickly if a role calls for it, saying, "If I have to get in a bikini, then I'll eat carrot sticks for 3 days. I'm one extreme or the other." Successfully pushing to get a standalone Harley Quinn movie made meant that Robbie had to get back into Suicide Squad shape, in which she was able to perform most of her own stunts. According to Suicide Squad co-producer Andy Horwitz,
Margot does 97% of her stunts in this movie. She embraced everything we throw at her. She makes it her own and does it better than we could have ever assumed it was going to be.
However, when it came to revisiting Harley for Birds of Prey, Robbie said many of the stunts in the new film were actually too dangerous to take on.
There's a lot of really cool stunts in the Birds of Prey movie. Quite a few of them I couldn't do because they were just too risky.
That's not to say that Robbie slacked off in comparison to her work for Suicide Squad, though. In addition to her regular workouts, Robbie trained to roller skate ahead of Birds of Prey, after already learning to ice skate for her role in I, Tonya. Photos of Robbie training and shooting in roller skates circulated on comic book blogs ahead of the movie's release, revealing that Prey will be based on a later version of Harley Quinn modeled after roller derby players. The roller skating Harley Quinn comes from the New 52 reboot in the DC Universe, which remodeled many characters with a hard refresh of 52 titles. Even a newish character like Quinn was not immune from the mandate. The most recent version of Quinn has been completely removed from the Joker, as she finally split with the Clown Prince of Crime for good. With her newfound independence, Quinn's motivations have also shifted. Where before most of her actions could be explained as working for Mr. J, the newly single Quinn is considerably less villainous. She's become a sort of anti-heroic vigilante, towing the line between criminal and superhero while attempting to hold her home of Coney Island together. The new Quinn is in the mold of wisecracking weirdos with murky morals like Deadpool, and screenwriter Christina Hodson even cited the Merc with a mouth when she talked about her early talks with Margot Robbie around the film. Robbie's dedication to the character is bound to translate to the big screen once again, as it did in Suicide Squad. And considering that Birds of Prey's reviews are a big improvement over the reaction to Suicide Squad, it's likely that we will be seeing Robbie as a ripped Harley Quinn for years to come.
As Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, Anthony Mackie plays a lean, mean MCU fighting machine. Even before his debut in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Mackie has pretty much been in exceptional shape. So how did he get so ripped? We've got all the details.
These my Apollo 3 pants. Get my Rocky on. What you gonna do, Rocky?
Anthony Mackie threw his hat into the Marvel ring in the early 2010s, but it would be a while before he got to suit up as the Falcon. In that time, he made a movie with two of the most ripped actors in Hollywood, Mark Wahlberg and The Rock himself, Dwayne Johnson. Mackie had to hit the weights hard for his role in Michael Bay's Pain and Gain, which was very loosely based on a real-life kidnapping executed by some ham-fisted bodybuilders in the 1990s. By Mackie's own admission, he was, quote, lazy and fat when he landed the part of steroid-using meathead Adrian Doorball, telling BuzzFeed, "I was looking for a project to help me get back in the gym and start working out."
And I'm sitting down curling Twinkies and watching Price is Right every morning.
Mackie was given just 5 weeks to get in shape for the shoot. To make that happen, he started a regimen of heavy lifting and no cardio. He told Men's Health, "I was max repping. I was doing chest and thighs, back and tries, and shoulders. And then Friday would be legs and I would start over again. It was just constantly ripping the muscle, giving it 4 days to recover and then going right back into it." To help him get ripped for Pain and Gain, Mackie enlisted the help of an old workout buddy back in his hometown of New Orleans. He told BuzzFeed, "We would just push each other every day. Then once the movie started, Mark and I would work out every morning together." Mackie has spoken at length about what it was like having Mark Wahlberg as a workout partner for the duration of the shoot. He revealed that the musician turned Hollywood star, quote, "can be very difficult at times, but he doesn't hold that against him," telling Vibe, "The thing about Mark is that he is the ultimate competitor. I thought that I was competitive, but he's a definite rival in my level of competitiveness."
That's it. Work harder.
Keeping up with Wahlberg and his iron-pumping entourage proved to be quite the challenge, but it did absolute wonders for the soon-to-be Marvel star's physique. They spent around 6 weeks as gym buddies, and Mackie noticed some extreme gains in that time, saying, "We would push each other to the limits and max out. It was a great opportunity to be in the gym and just become a gym head like I was in high school once again." Mackie's dream of joining the MCU became a reality when he won the role of the Falcon in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, but he quickly realized that he was going to look tiny next to the super jacked Chris Evans. The hard work he did before and during the making of Pain and Gain had him in impressive shape, but this was another level entirely.
Don't say it. Don't you say it. Left. Come on!
After news of his casting broke, Mackie told Vulture, "Chris Evans is in such good shape. I'm just a dude he dragged into the lab that he injected with some but I gotta stand next to him, so we shall see." At that point, everything Mackie knew about the Falcon came from the comics, and they made for a pretty daunting read. Describing Sam Wilson, a Harlem-born orphan who becomes Captain America's partner after the latter frees his mind from the control of the Red Skull, Mackie said, "He's known for his physique. He's described as 6'3", 245 pounds, so starting Monday for the next 5 months until we start shooting, I'm going back to high school workouts and start doing 2 a days, so I get up to 230 pounds. He may not look quite as jacked as Evans does in Captain America the Winter Soldier, but by the time they reunited to shoot Avengers Age of Ultron, Mackie was apparently doing more push-ups than even Cap himself. Every superhero actor wants to look their best when they pull on their costume, and Anthony Mackie is no exception. A competitive person by nature, he instinctively started comparing himself to Chris Evans after joining the cast of Captain America the Winter Soldier, though he knew that Sam Wilson isn't a super soldier like Cap. This meant that he had to toe a fine line between looking super jacked and superhuman. He told Vibe, "I wanted to put myself in a position where I don't look like Mr. T, but you can tell that the guy works out and pays attention to his physique and is healthy. I've been in the gym and worked out long enough to know how to get results with my body." He got those results with the aid of some good old-fashioned shut-eye and a carefully considered diet.
Oh, hi. Guess what I'm doing? I'm cooking.
To this day, the actor is very particular about what he eats while he's bulking up. When he sat down with Men's Health in 2021, he revealed that his personally designed meal plan helps him to, quote, lean out for the camera.
I find that because I lift heavy, I tend to bulk easily. So I try to use my diet to cut as much fat as possible.
Coffee has long been America's favorite source of caffeine, but Old Joe has had a new rival in recent years. Energy drinks have become a popular alternative to more expensive pre-workout beverages, with one study from the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition revealing that 42% of athletes chug one as part of their regimen. Mackie has never been interested though, telling Men's Health, "I'm not really big on pre-workout or energy drinks. I feel like I don't need the boost, so I try to drink as much water as possible before and after going to the gym." He does, however, partake in another favorite of bodybuilders everywhere, the protein shake. The actor began consuming a shake after every workout during his pain and gain days, telling BuzzFeed, "I would do half a banana, a scoop of peanut butter, and a scoop of protein with skim milk and make a smoothie." And he's been fine-tuning his recipe ever since. Nowadays, he's less about the peanut and more about the almond, telling Men's Health, "I do a scoop of vegan-based protein, a tablespoon of powdered almond butter so it cuts all the sugar out of it. I do almond milk and almond water." He also uses collagen and turmeric, which he claims helps with elasticity and joint repair.
My big thing now is collagen.
Mackie got used to getting up early to eat back when he was working out with Mark Wahlberg, telling the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette that he would have 6 egg whites and an egg yolk for breakfast at 6 a.m. Speaking to Honey and Lime about the strict diet he followed for Captain America the Winter Soldier, Mackie said, "You know, fitness is a lifestyle. You have to eat a certain way. You have to do a certain thing. You have to live a certain way. The Falcon still has eggs in the morning, but he cooks them up nowadays." Mackie told Men's Health that his, quote, real simple breakfast is usually made up of 6 scrambled eggs with sauteed onions or sweet peppers. He also has a portion of steel-cut oats, a breakfast favorite among bodybuilders, adding, "The steel-cut oats is very important because my body uses those carbs to burn off when I work out in the morning, because I like to work out early."
That's the breakfast I have every day.
From the moment he gets up in the morning to the end of the day, Mackie is, quote, constantly grazing in the kitchen, telling Men's Health, "I'll nibble and bite and eat throughout the course of the day, so I never feel full, but I never feel empty." That doesn't mean he skimps on the portions at mealtime, however. He follows up his egg and oat breakfast with a, quote, pretty big lunch that's full of everything he needs to keep his superhero bod. According to Mackie, that includes 2 or 3 grilled chicken cutlets, some cut vegetables with hummus, and a salad.
I try to have my big meals in the middle of the day instead of later.
The extra food he puts away at lunchtime gives him the energy he needs to carry on until the evening when he does a 3-mile, 30-minute run to get the blood pumping. It's more functional than it is tasty, but that's all part of the gig. Mackie got used to saying goodbye to the naughty things in his life when he was preparing for Captain America the Winter Soldier, joking to Honey and Lime, "Me and my homeboy Jack Daniels stopped talking. Me and my girlfriend Haagen-Dazs broke up. She French. It was crazy." So it goes for those who want to portray superheroes. Mackie's fellow Marvel star Chris Hemsworth has proven that it's perfectly possible to achieve a godlike body while on a plant-based diet. The Thor actor shocked everyone, his own personal trainer included, when he managed to maintain his incredible physique after going vegan. There's a lot to be said for vegan superheroes, but that's not how Mackie rolls. The actor revealed to Men's Health that he's a big meat lover, saying, "Dinner is usually a big piece of fish or a piece of chicken. I try to stay with lean protein. I'm really into bison and buffalo now if I have to have red meat, or lamb, which is my favorite meat on earth." He went on to reveal that every now and then he'll visit his favorite butcher in search of, quote, something wild to spice things up, like rabbit or something like that. Mackie pairs his meat with either brown rice or quinoa, saying, "Quinoa is really big for me now, so I'll do that and make a quinoa veggie sauté." After debuting as the Falcon in Captain America the Winter Soldier, Anthony Mackie went on to reprise the role in Avengers Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. By the time it came to film Endgame, he had his fitness regimen down to an art. When the actor sat down for a video interview with Vanity Fair right after the release of the multi-billion-dollar grossing sequel in 2019, he walked viewers through his typical day.
I wake up to Beyonce.
I do. I love Beyonce. She makes me strong. She's my spirit animal.
After that, he eats his protein-packed breakfast, and that's when the hard work begins. According to the actor, the first thing I do in the morning is 100 push-ups. Around 7:30 a.m., he hits the gym. Mackie also shared a big workout hack. Instead of driving himself to the gym and warming up there, he runs the 4 miles instead, leaving him with more time for weights.
Get in, I'm already warm from the jog.
Mackie says he always begins with 30 minutes of legs, then we move on to other places. Monday is chest and tri, Tuesday will be back and biceps. Every day you hit abs for 20 minutes, and then Wednesday would be legs and shoulders. Burn them out, start the routine over. At this point, Atlanta is a second home to Marvel stars like Anthony Mackie. At least a dozen MCU movies have made use of Pinewood Atlanta studios, and the Atlanta metro area has doubled for everywhere from New York City to Lagos. Disney Plus series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was also filmed in Atlanta, and when Mackie wasn't on the job, he liked to slip into his favorite pair of cycling shorts and find some exercise bikes. He told GQ, "You have a lot of different cycling places. You have the cycling places in Buckhead, where you have a lot of young women with ponytails that'll scream and are very angry on their bikes. Or you can go to the cycling place in Decatur, where there are a lot of young, angry people who yell and twerk on bikes."
Yes, it's true. I like to listen to rhythmic music and lift weights while I ride bikes for long distances against young women, yes.
Mackie particularly likes getting his bike fixed in Midtown, where it's apparently a lot more easygoing. He said, "It's just a bunch of nice people that ride bikes. No one's yelling, no one's throwing stuff, everyone's sweating." The cycling, along with all of Mackie's tried and tested routines, reportedly had him in the best shape of his life as he shot The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
When Kumail Nanjiani was cast in Marvel's Eternals, he was determined to step up his game to play the samurai Kingo Suin and challenge himself to look the part. Here are the secrets the star and his personal trainer Grant Roberts have revealed behind his bulking up journey. After seeing Kumail Nanjiani's photos of his physical transformation, plenty of people wondered how he got those incredible results and if they could potentially recreate his success on their own. However, Nanjiani has been open about the fact that his results would not have been possible if he wasn't in a position of immense privilege. He worked with personal trainers and nutritionists throughout the year, all of whom were focused on creating a custom program for his body, goals, and lifestyle. Nanjiani wrote in his Instagram caption, "I would not have been able to do this if I didn't have a full year with the best trainers and nutritionists paid for by the biggest studio in the world. I'm glad I look like this, but I also understand why I never did before. It would have been impossible without these resources and time." Over the course of his fitness journey, Kumail Nanjiani worked with many top personal trainers and nutritionists, all of whom played an important role in helping him achieve his goals. But he spent most of his time training with Grant Roberts, who has also worked as an actor. You might have spotted him in Sully or in films like $1 Million Baby. Being in front of the camera himself meant that he understood exactly what Nanjiani needed to do in order to prepare for Eternals. Roberts told Page 6, "My process is completely individualized and starts with the gathering of information, current lifestyle, body composition tests, etc. I also have a 3D scanner that's particularly useful for goal setting and strategizing the nutrition and training program." The 3D body scanner that Roberts uses probably doesn't come cheap, but these machines create accurate pictures of his client's body composition, posture, and how their measurements change as they work out. It was an invaluable tool for creating Nanjiani's training program.
He scares me. Oh, me too. But he's an excellent motivator. It's true.
What are you looking at?
So if you want to get muscles like Nanjiani, how often do you have to hit the gym? Nanjiani generally worked out for a little over an hour, 4 to 5 days a week. However, recovery time was an important component of his fitness program. He consistently took 2 or 3 days off each week. Many people think that they need to push themselves to work out without taking a day off if they want to bulk up or lose weight. But having scheduled rest days so that your muscles can heal is actually crucial. Roberts definitely wanted Nanjiani to commit to a rigorous workout schedule, but as a professional trainer, he also understood that regular rest days would be the key to long-term success. Spending time relaxing outside of the gym is just as important as spending time in the gym. They say that abs are made in the kitchen, and this was definitely true for Nanjiani. Getting fit wasn't just about burning calories in the gym. He also had to ensure that he was fueling his body with healthy foods. Sure, you can technically lose weight while eating sugary desserts or savory comfort foods, but when it comes to building muscle, you need to start with the right building blocks and put nutritious foods on your plate. What was included in Nanjiani's food pyramid? He went with the low-carb approach to dieting. He also made sure to eat plenty of protein, which is essential for building muscle and having a sustained source of energy for workouts. Nanjiani also focused on adding healthy fats to his diet, particularly sources of omega-3 fatty acids. In addition, he made sure to drink plenty of water and stay hydrated. If you're exercising as often as he was, you don't want to forget your water bottle when you go to the gym. Many people find that sticking to a consistent, healthy diet is even more difficult than finding a form of exercise they enjoy. But for Kumail Nanjiani, this wasn't the case. He was so dedicated to his fitness program that he didn't want to take cheat days. In fact, one of the nutritionists he worked with basically had to force him to take a day off from his diet and indulge every once in a while. Nanjiani credits David Higgins for giving him permission to enjoy his favorite foods and stop being so hard on himself. What did Nanjiani reach for on cheat days? He grew up in Pakistan and he loves Pakistani food, but he admits that this cuisine is very carb-heavy, which meant that it wasn't appropriate for his usual meal planning. But he says that traditional Pakistani food like biryani, naan bread and rice was his quote, go-to cheat meal, and he would often feel so full after eating it that he had to take a nap afterwards. When Roberts designed Nanjiani's workout program, he had a philosophy in mind: no weak spots. Yes, they would target certain muscles, but overall, he wanted to create full-body workouts. His goal? Help Nanjiani look like a real bodybuilder. He encouraged Nanjiani to concentrate on the symmetry of the musculature so that he would see improvements all over. Roberts admits that he pushed Nanjiani in a way that he had never been pushed before, but Nanjiani was always up for the challenge. Roberts says that Nanjiani was genuinely enthusiastic about getting fit, telling Men's Journal, "I was excited to work with Kumail because I could tell he was ready to dedicate himself to the process. I have literally thousands of text messages to prove that point. Getting these kinds of results doesn't happen without maximum effort." When it comes to helping his clients, Roberts clearly likes to stay on the cutting edge and utilize new technology in the world of fitness. While working with Nanjiani, Roberts regularly used electric stimulation, or E-stim, to target certain muscles. Your average gym goer may not have used this tool, but apparently celebrity trainers like Roberts are big fans. So how does electric stimulation work? Basically, Roberts would place pads hooked up to electric wires on Nanjiani's back over specific muscle groups. Sometimes he would deliver a zap, which helped, quote, fire up the muscles. It may sound strange, but Roberts is a fan of using this method with clients. He used electric stimulation with Nanjiani about twice per week. When you start working out and eating healthy, you don't see results overnight. The waiting game is frustrating, but it takes a while to notice the results you really want. However, according to Roberts, Nanjiani really didn't have to wait long to see results. This is because Roberts went right in with workouts that were focused on intensity, packing lots of action into a short time frame. This leads to fast muscle building and weight loss, which was probably quite motivating for Nanjiani. Roberts told Page 6, Kumail responded very quickly, as most people do, when introduced to training that shocks the system, whether it be for fat loss or muscle gain, or as in Kumail's case, both. When Nanjiani started working out to get ready for Eternals, he felt like he had spent years holding himself back from his full potential. He had generally worked in comedy. He was best known for Silicon Valley and The Big Sick, but he knew if he wanted to try something different, he would need to transform his physique. He had no idea just how strong he could get because he had never tried to figure out what his physical limits were. At one point, he was getting so muscular that Marvel told Roberts and Nanjiani to scale back and slow down a bit. Apparently, he looked, quote, too big and too cut for the role. Therefore, Roberts lightened up on Nanjiani's workouts. This probably wasn't the kind of feedback that Nanjiani expected from the studio, but it had to be flattering.
How'd you feel?
Taller.
The key to seeing amazing results in the gym isn't just physical exercise, it's also about your mindset. Kumail Nanjiani said that his perspective and sheer level of concentration on his goals were necessary to achieve the look he wanted. He told Men's Health, "When I'm exercising, I'm not thinking about anything else. It's like meditation." Nanjiani even admitted that some of his friends were dismayed by his new attitude towards working out. He says that at one point, they essentially, quote, staged an intervention to get him out of the gym for a few days. They were worried that his intense focus on working out would detract from his skills as a comedian. Nanjiani knew that outlook might affect his work on funnier projects, but he said that in the end, he didn't care. "I'm kind of obsessed with it." Being funny wasn't his only priority anymore. He was ready for a major change, and he was willing to accept the sacrifices that would come along with it. In order to achieve the results he really wanted, Nanjiani's nutritionist basically had to micromanage his diet. He had to be exceptionally careful about eating sugar, and whenever he ate something sweet, he had to give them a heads up so they could plan his meals accordingly. Nanjiani told Men's Health, they were like, if you're going to have a can of Coke today, let us know in the morning so we can adjust and account for it. Although he was allowed to enjoy cheat days, he soon found that after eating such a clean diet all week long, going on a sugar binge during the weekends would hold him back when he returned to the gym. Nanjiani admitted that on one particular occasion, he decided to indulge in sticky toffee pudding, but came to regret it the next day, saying that he felt so, quote, off that he had to endure 12 hours of physical pain. He eventually got so strict with his sugar intake that he ended up going an entire year without eating even a single brownie. There's a common mistake that people make when they begin working out. They try to go all out and adopt some extreme habits, which inevitably don't stick. As a personal trainer, Roberts is well aware of these pitfalls, and he was determined to help Nanjiani avoid them. Instead, Roberts made sure that Nanjiani was developing habits that would be sustainable in the long term, even after he dialed back on his original intense training schedule. Roberts told The Hollywood Reporter, "We sent him away in peak physical condition, but he's had to maintain that. I give him kudos for being able to do that, especially when he was working." It looks like the new Nanjiani is here to stay. He's come a long way throughout this journey, and there's no doubt that his skills will impress audiences when Eternals premieres.
We took an in-depth look at the fitness regimens employed by some of your favorite Marvel stars, with an emphasis on the diets and workouts they used leading up to the MCU's big showdown against Thanos. Lupita Nyong'o is a relative newcomer to the MCU. Her first Marvel film was 2018's Black Panther, and she put in a lot of work to get in shape.
We had 6 weeks of boot camp where they, got us all buff and ready to go.
Fortunately, she enjoyed the physical challenge. Nyong'o said, "It's just gaining strength, stamina, and flexibility. I had to get into particularly good shape to be able to do the stunts. The boot camp worked, and her physical skill as Nakia is evident. It's easy to imagine that her workout routine for Avengers Endgame rests on continuing to train hard and put on muscle." Karen Gillan debuted as Nebula in the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise before appearing in Infinity War and Endgame, and she didn't skimp as she prepared for the role. Squats, barbell deadlifts, and other weightlifting moves played a big role in her workout routine. Cardio, like running and cycling, upped her endurance so she could last during the long days on set. Next came martial arts training. As Gillan put it, "I had to start from scratch in terms of learning how to fight to look like I could do damage to someone." Finally, she transformed her diet. Eating protein shakes, apples, and almond butter all helped Gillan get the protein she needed in order to build more muscle and step into the role of Nebula.
It's not ripe.
Chris Pratt, better known as Star-Lord to Marvel fans, took to Instagram to share his Avengers Infinity War workout. In the videos on his Instagram stories, Pratt took a 3-mile trail run as a warm-up and then did 3 sets of 120-yard hill sprints. Pratt went through an intensive training regimen for Guardians of the Galaxy, working for 3 or 4 hours each day and losing 60 pounds in just 6 months. During that time, Pratt also gave up alcohol, ate 4,000 calories a day in a low-carb diet, and did swimming, boxing, P90X, running, kickboxing, and even a triathlon as part of his workout routine. So when it came time to prepare for Infinity War and Endgame, Pratt was prepared. He knew what it would take. And it seems like Pratt enjoys his workouts too. "I can do 40-inch box jumps now. Action hero physical stuff. Jumping that high feels really good. When you get in shape, the world around you becomes things you want to jump on and climb on."
Oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
When Josh Brolin first started preparing to play Cable in Deadpool 2, he went the low-carb route right away. No sugar, no bread, no pastas. It can be a difficult diet to follow, but it's also one that can produce results. That is much evident by watching Brolin as Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. In addition to exercising his self-control in the kitchen, Brolin put in the work in the gym too. Gold's Gym, according to the location on some of his Instagram workout videos. Brolin performed drop sets and other workout moves with his trainer Justin David Lovato of Built Nutrition and Training. He's definitely put in the work, and although he can now enjoy his role as Thanos, that role came at a heavy price.
What did it cost?
Everything.
Can you picture Iron Man doing yoga? That suit would definitely make it difficult, but in real life, Robert Downey Jr. is an ardent enthusiast. In 2008, Downey described his infatuation with yoga, telling Time, "I need a lot of support. Life is really hard. I've just been at the ready, and when the opening was there, I hit it." Downey was in the news for an assortment of dangerous behaviors many years ago, and he said yoga is a big part of what helped him improve his overall health and wellness and stay on the straight and narrow.
It is Robert Downey Jr.
Wow.
What? That's RDJ?
Yoga isn't a shocking or particularly exciting workout. It doesn't make headlines like some of the other intense regimens other Marvel actors put themselves through, but Downey doesn't stop there either.
I train Kung Fu, I strength train, I do Qigong, I do Susan Downey's workout as Tracy Anderson.
By now, we're pretty deep into the Marvel universe, more than 20 movies deep, in fact, and many of Marvel's primary actors have been around for a while. That's why they continue working out all year long, even if they aren't training for any specific film. Chris Hemsworth, in particular, maintains a consistent workout routine to stay in shape for playing Thor. When it's time to really gear up for his next MCU adventure, he can pack on as much as 20 pounds, but in between movies, he keeps going to the gym, albeit at a more low-key level. There's no reason for the cast to keep up their punishing 6-day-a-week workout schedule if they aren't preparing to film, but continuing some sort of consistent exercise can help them stay healthy and also stay prepared. By keeping up with workouts, they won't have as much work to do in order to get back into fighting shape for the next movie.
The other funny thing about doing these kind of, genre action movies is you don't want to be the tubby guy.
Through focusing on year-round fitness, staying in shape all the time so they'll be ready for the next Marvel film, some of the MCU stars have developed a life-altering affinity for healthy living. Chris Hemsworth has even launched a health, fitness, and diet app, which helps subscribers set goals and then complete short, focused workouts to reach them.
Mindfulness training, nutrition, general health and well-being, and thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could bring all those people together into one space and give you guys access to that team?
Like the rest of us, the MCU cast isn't getting any younger, and a persistent focus on regular exercise and sensible nutrition is always a great way to stay in shape, whether you're simply staying healthy or gearing up for a blockbuster movie like Avengers Endgame.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.